Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani. Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT math problems out of this book here, the SAT Official Study Guide 2020. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. Always make sure the book is in front of you when you're working with me. Today we'll do some problems, so the very last four problems in the book that you will find on page number 1250. Please turn to it, page 1250. And as I just said, today is our very last day, day number 80. The four problems that you see there, number 35 is the first one. In number 35 we have a right circular cylinder. We are told that the volume of the cylinder is 72 pi cubic yard. Because the volume is three-dimensional, the unit is cubic, obviously. Question simply is, what's the diameter? What's the diameter of such a circular cylinder? Keep in mind that we're looking for diameter and not the radius. Not the radius. Don't make a mistake. Don't make a mistake of doing all the work and then picking the wrong answer. So question is, how do you go about finding the volume of a circular cylinder? Let's plot circular cylinder first. Circular cylinder obviously is three-dimensional, just like when we have a rectangle, it's length times width, and when we introduce the third dimension, the depth, then it becomes length times width times height. Well, this should have been height. You get the idea. So here, what's the two-dimensional concept? The two-dimensional concept is the circle that you see on the top. The volume of a right circular cylinder, how much stuff you can put in a cylinder, depends on only two things. It depends on how wide open the circle is. Those two-dimensional concepts, the area of the circle, which is simply pi r squared. And the second thing it depends on is how deep is it? How deep is the cylinder? Which is like having length times width and adding the height to it. So that's exactly what it is, height. We are told that height of the cylinder that we're dealing with is 8 yards. Let's begin, shall we? So just like here, length times width times height, we take the area of the circle and we multiply by the height and we're done. So the volume is simply going to be the area of the circle, which is pi r squared times height. And we are told, and that is equal to 72 pi. That is equal to 72 pi. We don't worry about writing the units. It's the same thing. We see a pi here, we see a pi here. We can eliminate it. And it is no longer equal to volume, so I'm going to erase that part. If we divide both sides by pi, it's gone. We also know what the height is. Height is 8. Let's put it in there. So r squared times 8 will be simply 72. Let's divide both sides by 8. 8 goes away, and 72 is made up of 9 eighths. 9 eighths are 72, or 8 nines are 72. You understand? How do I know that 9 eighths are 72? Because if we have 10 eighths, 10 times 8 would be 80. 80 minus 8 is 72. So that's it. R squared is 9, which implies that R has to be 3. R has to be 3, obviously positive 3. This is what I mean by don't make a mistake. We're looking for the diameter. Diameter is simply going to be 2 times 3. Answer is 6. The diameter is 6. This is what you want to grade in. Let's do the next one. Number 36. You'll be surprised how many times I have seen where kids, they do all the work, but they don't pay attention to what is being asked. You find the radius at the end, they stop right there and they grade in 3. 3, of course, is wrong. We're looking for the diameter. And the next question, it says, for what value of x? For what value of x is the function undefined? And the function that is given to us, looks something like this. 1 over x minus 5 whole squared plus 4 times x minus 5 plus 4. Now, this f that you see there, that's just the name of the function. I'm calling this function f. That's what I'm calling it. I gave it the name f. In the book they call it h. Why h? Because they want to be cute. It really doesn't change anything. So the question is, when is this function going to be undefined? The answer is, this function is going to be undefined. This function that you see here, this function is going to be undefined when the bottom, or if you like, denominator is equal to 0. If the bottom is 0, any number divided by 0 is undefined. It becomes infinity. It's not defined. It's not a number. I cannot tell you. It's not a defined value. In other words, an infinity times infinity does not become 2 infinity. 2 times infinity, there is no such thing as 2 times infinity. Infinity is just undefined. You cannot do anything with this. It's just, it has no definition. So this bottom part, when it becomes 0, the whole function is going to be undefined because we'll be dividing by 1 over 0. So let's set this bottom part equal to 0 and solve for x. That's what we have to do. That's what we're going to do on the top here. Let's set this whole thing equal to 0. X minus 5 whole squared plus 4 x minus 5 plus 4, and this has to equal to 0. Now we could continue the way it is written, but it will make it easier if we were to redefine this part right here. Let's redefine it. Let y equal to x minus 5. We're going to write this thing, we're going to redefine it in a new variable. We're going to call this value y. X minus 5, we're going to call it y. So x minus 5 squared becomes y squared plus 4 times y plus 4 equals 0, which is simply y squared plus 2y plus 2y plus 4 equals 2y, 2 positive 2 and positive 2 is going to give you positive 4, and 4 times y squared what we're looking for, which is what we're going to get here. 2y times 2y is 4y squared. It's just very simple, you already know it. Let's take out y common from here. So we're left with y plus 2 from here, this part right here, and from here let's take out 2 common. As you can see, I'm making too much fuss about it. You already knew this is a perfect square. It's just x plus 2 whole squared. Let's just set it equal to 0. If x plus y whole squared is 0, that must also mean, that implies that y plus 2 must also be 0. Now let's substitute the value of y up here. Y we know is x minus 5. So this is y plus 2 is equal to 0, which means that x minus 5 plus 2 must equal to 0, which is simply x minus 3 is equal to 0, which in turn means that y, it is x not y. X minus 3 is equal to 0, which in turn means that x must be equal to 3. There you go. If x is equal to 3, this entire thing is going to be undefined. And if you like, if you want to take a couple of seconds, if you happen to have the time in the exam and if you want to verify it, it only takes 5 more seconds to verify it. Let's verify it very quickly. Let's verify it, make sure that the bottom becomes 0. Let's make sure the bottom becomes 0 when x is equal to 3. When x is equal to 3, we get 3 minus 5 whole squared plus 4 times 3 minus 5 plus 4. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Negative 2 squared becomes positive 4. Positive 4 plus 4 times negative 2 plus positive 4. There you go. Positive 4 and positive 4 is going to give you positive 8, and 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. It becomes 0. In other words, this particular function is not allowed to take a value of x. In this particular function, the variable x is not allowed to assume a value of 3. It's not defined at that time. 37. The penultimate question. The penultimate question. You heard me say this word many times. Every time we get to second to the last problem, I use this word. But today we are using this word in its truest definition because it's not only the second last question of the exam, it is second last question of the entire book. Let's do that, shall we? Penultimate is simply a fancy way of saying second to the last. A word that we learned in our vocabulary lesson, I believe, on day number 11. I've used it so many times that I probably remember the day. It is day number 11. It is day number 11. I knew it by heart, and I hope you understand what that means. That means that I need a life. Number 37. We are told that the interest is 2% compounded annually. And we are told, we are being asked in this expression, in the expression 100 times x raised to t, what does x represent? What does x represent? What's the value of x? The part that I left out is that we're going to put $100 initially, initial deposit. So we have an account, we go to the bank, and the bank tells us that we have a special account which gives you 2% interest compounded annually, and I say, fine, that's a great idea, here's $100, I want to open the account. And I open the account. The question is, when it is being compounded annually, what kind of equation do we use to find the value that is the amount of money in my account at any given time? And that is given by the value at any given time. Let's call it a dollar for D, D for dollar. At any given time D, at any time in T, I hope they didn't, oh, they used the T here. That's the same, that's the time period. That's the time period, in this case is annual. It is simply 1 plus R raised to T. 1 plus R raised to T times the initial deposit. Initial deposit, what should we call it? Let's just call it $100 here. Initial deposit was $100. The R here is 2%. So R here is 2%, so it's simply 1.02 raised to T times 100. There you go. So what does X represent? What does X represent? X represents this value. X is equal to 1.02. So why 1.02? Because it is 2%. Let's do the next one, shall we? Number 38. Number 38. In number 38, we have two accounts. We're comparing two accounts. 38. We have an account J, which we are told earns 2%, compounded annually. I'm not going to write that down. And then we have account, I'm going to write it a little bit lower. We don't need this anymore. So we have account J that earns 2%. And then we have account T. I shouldn't use T because T is not for time. I'm going to call them A and B. I'm just going to call them A and B. Account A and account B. I was going to use J and T because those are the names here. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Taishuan, I have no idea what the hell that is. Jessica, A and B. This account pays us 2.5% interest, again compounded annually. And again, we're going to deposit $100 initially. Initial deposit is $100 in both the accounts. The question simply is, how much more money will I have in B compared to A in 10 years time. Notice 10 years, the apostrophe goes after the S, not before the S, because it's plural. 10 years time. Let's do this, shall we? So in account number A, we're starting out with 100. It's compounded at 2% for 10 years. This is the amount that we'll have. 1.2 raised to 1.02 raised to 10. In this account number B, is the same thing. We're starting out with $100. It's compounded at 2.5%, which is 0.025, 2.5%, and again for 10 years period. And that's all it is. And as if you watch all of my videos, day 1 through 80, you probably notice that very, very rarely I reach for the calculator. Even when the calculator is allowed, we try to do it by hand. But when you come across something like this, one has no choice but to reach for the calculator, because you cannot really do it by hand. So let's do it by the calculator, but pay attention. They're looking for the difference in the amount, difference in the two accounts, down to a penny. We are supposed to round it down to a penny, not to a dollar. So this is how we're going to do it. Pick up your calculator and find this amount. Put in your calculator 1.02, raise it to 10. When you raise it to 10, you will find that this comes out to be 1.21899. Don't be lazy. When you get to 1.218, don't try to make it 2 right now. Don't try to convert that into 9. Leave it there, because you have to still multiply by 10, and we have to go down to a penny. When we multiply, rather 100, when we multiply by 100, we're going to lose 2 digits, and we are asked to round it to penny, which means we need 2 more digits to go down to penny. So have 1 extra digit to find out what's going on. And this one is going to be 100 times 1.28008. This is what I mean by it. If you were to just drop the 008 at this point out of laziness, what you will find is that you'll end up with even $128. $128 is not what we're looking for. We want to round it to penny. So let's first multiply by 100. When we multiply by 100, we get 128. 128.008. And when we multiply this by 100, we're going to end up with 121.899. Now it's the time to do rounding to the penny. Since they want the answer down to a cent, that's their way of saying that we are supposed to round it to 100 digits, not the 10th digit. Do you understand? 100 digits is this one right here, and that's a 9. So that 9, since it's 9, this is 89 is going to become 90. So we end up with 1.2190. $121.90. Similarly here, we will end up with $128, and 0008 will become 1 penny. This is where it's crucial, because if you lose that penny, you're going to end up creating the wrong answer, and you will get no credit for it. Now all we have to do is take the difference. 121.90 minus, or rather the other way around. Let's do it on the top. Let's do it on the top. 128.01, $128.01 minus $121.90. And you will find that the answer comes out to be $6.11. Because 1 comes down, 10 minus 9 is 1, and this 8 becomes 7, and there you go. This is what we want to grade in. 6.11 is what you want to grade in. Otherwise, as I said before, you will get no credit for it. That was the end of our long journey. A journey that we started a long time ago with exam number 1. There are 8 exams in this book. It says somewhere right here. Right there at the bottom it says 8 real exam. It's important that you work through all of those exams, all of those 8 exams, every single problem. Now when I say every single problem, I'm not just talking about math part, because you have to obviously prepare for the entire exam. Work through all the exam. Of course we are here for the math part, but you should practice on all of them. If you need help, if you wish to work with me, if you want to get tutored by me, you can always get hold of me by sending me an email at keshwaniprep.com. Go to my website, keshwaniprep.com, send me an email or fill out the form, and I'll be more than happy to do what I can. In the meantime, don't forget to work on the verbal part. I can help you with the grammar portion, which is the writing part. The writing portion is all about grammar. I can help you with the grammar part. I can most certainly do that. I can also help you work on your vocabulary. If you want to work on your vocabulary on your own, watch this series of videos. There are 100 videos on my channel. SAT vocabulary words, day 1. Type that in and watch the series, work on the vocabulary, and if you wish to help you with the vocabulary, I can help you also with that part. All you have to do is send me an email. Alright? I wish you all the best in the exam, and it was a pleasure helping you guys. Good luck to you in the exam and in life. Bye now.